Well, right out of the gate, we know that businesses are a product of their environment, right? And nowhere is this more true than in the marketing and information technology space. And of course, this means that when we have prevailing wisdoms or technologies, dynamics, right, that change, we got to change as well. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind. That whole philosophy was demonstrated by Onpassive when we realized the technology didn't exist or wasn't available sufficient for our purposes as we transformed from the marketing platform to a conscious IT company 2-3 years ago, right? Companies today that are immersed in AI and IT have got to be aware of emerging trends and know how to engage these changing trends to connect with customers and to make sure that the business is going to thrive the way that we want it to. And that certainly is what Onpassive has done. That's what this video here is all about, quite frankly. Marketing, trends, and how Onpassive is doing these things. Mr. Mufareh said recently, that 2023 had proved to be a rather transitional time for Onpassive. And the same is true for the world when it comes to new marketing developments. AI alone has upended the marketing landscape in a lot of different ways, so much so that about 60% or so of marketers now use AI in their day-to-day activities. And consumer trends like conscious shopping and or making carbon positive purchases, meaning those purchases that have potential impact, positive impact on the planet, have actually accelerated, and marketers rather everywhere are anticipating a future with trends that are very good for humanity and good for the planet. And that's what we call the conscious business, which is a rise of a conscious business. And obviously, that's something that Onpassive is as well. So talking about trends, I think the first and probably the best trend out there the best thing going right now is video. And I don't think anything outperforms video when it comes to turning people's attentions and eyeballs, not to mention driving conversion, right, for products and customers and such. When you have a good video on your landing page, for instance, it can actually increase your conversions up to 85, 86, 87%. It also significantly contributes to the optimization results, which simply means that the SEO, things like that, the search engine optimization, it just means that your pages are more discoverable and you're going to get more views. And if the past is any kind of indication, high resolution video is likely to be seen as pivotal or central to marketing strategies and e-commerce. Onpassive knows this, and we started to do this. I mean, who doesn't want to see high res in videos, right? Or who doesn't want to see surround views, 360 degrees, even videos that demonstrate how to set things up or demonstrate these videos. I mean, we just love seeing them. And videos, high-res video in particular, is the methodology for meeting those kinds of expectations. We know that Onpassive is doing that. They're actually doing ultra high resolution, and Mr. Mufareh has talked about that being part of the OConnect, the web conferencing software that we've got. And also being able to manipulate some of the video background within that. I mean, really some good high-tech stuff. And it's been shown out that about 88 to 90% of people that have bought a product or a service, they did it after they watched a good video about it. So some of the reasons for using videos are things like getting increased viewership and better exposure. The content longevity, in other words, it's got a longer life because it's more relevant and stays relevant longer. It's a very good sales tool. You can reach different audiences, Generation Z, for instance. It's good for reporting purposes, and makes lasting consumer connections and such. If you want to go see some great examples of videos, then head on over to the onpassive.com websites and take a look at what they've got there, as well as their blogs and social media. You're going to see some pretty outstanding work done by our people. Video marketing through social media is also extremely effective. Probably wouldn't surprise you to learn that during the year from April 22 to April 23, more than, I think it was 150 million new social media users came around, averaging somewhere around 410,000 a year, every day of that year. Quite astonishing, you got to say. Social media use has accelerated as well at a stunning pace. I mean, it's just going bonkers, right? As we've got this new generation that's what they do. It's a mobile generation, and they've arrived on the scene, so to speak. As a result, it's a pretty safe bet that social media marketing is going to continue to be a top marketing trend this year, as well as for years to come. I mean, we can probably have no reason to not think that's going to happen. And we can see that Onpassive has fully engaged in social media through membership in all of the major platforms, not to mention that we've created our own social media, ONET No Network, right? It doesn't collect any personal data, certainly doesn't sell any user data, and nor does it censor its content. So, we're making some inroads and making some real differences there, and we are continuing to stay up with that. There's also what we call influencer marketing. Influencer partnerships are wildly expected to become an even more mainstream marketing strategy this year and into the next for brands across many industries. And from a marketing standpoint, they could prove to be very profitable, particularly for consumer brands that are in competitive spaces like we are, right? AI and IT in particular. Now, Onpassive has not only become a sought-after influencer, but it's working with some top influencers across the globe, right? And some of these even include governments. So, when we consider the dozen or so very high-powered strategic partnership that Onpassive has developed here in the last year or so, it's very clear that we're able to offer some world-class influencing from what's sure to be our platform, which is going to be the greatest business model on the planet when it comes to technology, information technology, AI, and the whole thing with lifting humanity. So, hang on, because we're in for a ride. Now, there's another marketing trend that's likely to stand out this year. It's called personalization. And this term, personalization, points toward being able to customize content or products and offers and communication for individual users based on their demographics and their purchasing behaviors and such. And when we look at the boatload of products and services offered by Onpassive, it's pretty clear to see personalization, customization for the user as a clear quality that we've got, that we're offering, and it is second to none. Now, the goal is to provide content that can now be blended, almost certainly useful in that way anyway, so that the user experiences what we call almost a human touch through the technology. Now, this concept, though it's very important and it's part of what we provide, is not the norm, in that what we could call, I guess, generalized content that consumers are subject to on a daily basis comes from all sorts of other companies day in and day out, but we're not about that. So to aid or to help or assist in this personalization, Onpassive has written its own AI, which, by the way, is emotionally intelligent, and it uses machine learning. So the result is that the AI in our products learns to become familiar in a way with the user and can even recognize a user's emotional state over time. And many businesses are gearing up to deploy this type of strategy, this personalization of this type as a marketing strategy this year and going into other years as well. As a matter of fact, many of them, about 90%, say that it already contributes significantly to their profitability. And Onpassive, they've been doing it for a bit, right? They've been doing it for a minute, and we're just ahead of the game. Now, obviously, another trend is artificial intelligence. That's going to continue to be a major player. It has taken the world by storm since since the outcome of what's called generative AI. Everybody's heard of chat GPT, I think. Yeah, I'm having a brain bulb. Sorry about that. Generative AI is a type of AI that can create content, which includes text, images, music, audio. I mean, it can write books, it can create videos, really some cool stuff, right? Now, of course, Onpassive has weaved in a way AI into every part of the company, and so it's pretty easy to see why, because accessibility to AI, the AI engine, right, is a proven game changer for businesses and consumers, especially through automation, which is exactly why Onpassive brought AI in to start with. It was back in 2019 when we realized that we needed greater efficiencies in the integration of our marketing, financials, and especially, in the integration of the digital products, within the ecosystem. We found those efficiencies through automation that was gained by us introducing our own AI to the platform, and that was, back in 2019. And since then, we've seen a lot of other businesses doing the same thing, and they're getting some real value by integrating AI to help automate and simplify tasks, and not to mention the fact that it will also cut down on workforce requirements, okay? Because it does a lot of things that people can do. Actually, around 75% or so of marketers have already expressed that they're using AI for content generation with their businesses and or their online presence, what they do. So obviously, from this, it's not a far jump from AI to an extended reality platform, or it's called XR for short. This is because AI is very capable of handling massive data requirements for these extended reality technologies, right? Extended reality, when I talk about that, it's an umbrella term for a range of technologies that Mr. Mufareh has talked about that digitally enhance human experiences, like virtual reality, VR, the augmented reality that we were talking about, and mixed reality. So those three are all extended realities. Now, of those, AR is probably the most commonly deployed one of these, because it has a relative ease with which it can be integrated into consumer experiences. It involves augmenting or enhancing the real world with digitally created images and elements. AR software will, in a way, superimpose digital images onto a real background, right? To think about, as an example, think about some home decoration apps that gives the user a feel for how a new couch or new furniture might look in your room, or how a different wall or moving a wall or something would look. It'll take a real picture and it'll put changes that are digital in that picture, and it makes you appreciate it. So that's what we're talking about. Now, we've heard Mr. Mufareh, right, talk about these things, and I can pretty much guarantee he's got some brainards somewhere, probably in the innovation labs, working on projects behind the scenes that are using these technologies. I would almost guarantee, I'd put a hefty bet, because he's talked about it. We know these are on the horizon for us. We've heard him talk about these specific technologies, as well as metaverse and some other things. So we also know that email marketing, right? That's another trend, man. And if it's not right up at the top of the most powerful marketing strategies, it's pretty close. The ROI alone is outstanding, because for every buck you spend, right, you can get like $36 back. And on top of that, it can have a very transformative effect on your customer relationships and improving overall customer lifetime, which means how long is this customer going to be buying and working with you with products and such. So again, Onpassive knows the importance of this and has created a free email platform called Omail, and that brings users into an arena that is unlimited, right? And you don't hear unlimited often, but that's a theme within Onpassive. It is an unlimited platform. It is secure, and it does not exploit the user or the user's digital data or presence. So, life is good. Go grab you some. Another trend is mobile optimization. That's well, believe it or not, over half of all global traffic originates from mobile devices. So, meaning that it makes up rather about almost 60% of the global internet traffic, and that's a whole lot of traffic, right? For context or as a comparison, you think about the desktop computer, that's only got about 40% share of total web traffic. So websites not optimized for mobile, man, they're missing out on a huge chunk of potential customers and all sorts of neat stuff. So, of course, Onpassive knows this, and we have already gotten mobile-friendly access to the Onpassive ecosystem, as well as our web conferencing platform, OConnect. So we're already ahead of the game. Another thing that I use and love, another trend, it's called voice search. It's gained a lot of popularity lately. I mean, I'm an avid user of it myself. I'm forever talking to Google saying, show me, show me, show me. So, I mean, that's typically through Google. I mean, there's 125 million of us that do these searches, right? And these types of searches, these voice searches, they tend to be rather informal. They use what are called feature long tail keywords, which simply means typically they have a lower search volume, and they are specific topics. And that's opposed to, opposed to short tail keywords, which are known as head terms for whatever reason. But these are searches that have broad topics and high search volumes. Anyway, the point is, there are things out there that are affecting the way businesses are created, and this is one of them. And specifically, the creation and the ease of use for smart assistants, like we see with Alexa and Google Home. They're weighing pretty heavily on businesses, and they're forcing businesses to rethink how they create their content. Again, Onpassive is ahead of the game. We've been developing voice technologies that include voice search, speech to text, text to speech, and language auto translation. And I'm sure there's more. But I mean, the last three of these are actually being used in products that we've already released commercially, OConnect and Omail. But we haven't even seen the full functionality of these products yet. The new versions coming out will have more features and functionality. So look out, life is good, and we're moving right along with it. So now there's two closely related trends that involve security in a way. One of them is actual data security, and the other is data privacy. So I guess they both involve privacy, data. There we go. Data security addresses evolving cybersecurity challenges, and Onpassive is and has been active in this area for a while. They've got their own VPN, virtual private networks, one-time passwords that we call the OTPs, single sign-ons for the entire ecosystem, user verifications, and other types of security protocols that are actually integrated in the back-end layers. And some that we see, with the front end on the user interfaces. It actually has a product, Onpassive does, that's going to be released commercially. It's called O-Verify, and that product has been developed expressly for the purpose of verifying users' identities. So, hey, Onpassive knows data privacy has long been abused by the IT and media spaces, so much so that users are pretty leery about what kind of data they share and who they share it with. They don't want it getting in the wrong hands, which it often does. Now, between big tech collecting and selling users' digital data and online security threats and cyber crimes and such, Onpassive is working to ensure our user data is used legitimately and with transparency, right? Because in this way, Onpassive is going to give its users more control. It's going to give us more control over our own data. And that creates a mutual trust. It inspires loyalty, which it turns out, by the way, is good for the bottom line. Of course, we know Onpassive isn't driven by the bottom line, and Mr. Mufareh has even stated that we are not greedy when it comes to profit. So, Onpassive, though unnamed back when we started back in 2018, was right in the thick of things, because it turns out that was a year of crisis, in a way, for data privacy worldwide. That's when the EU launched the General Data Privacy Regulation, what they call the GDPR, the framework for it. Anyway, this year, 2024, could also prove to be significant, as it seems that Google, which is a behemoth, could be making some changes in the data privacy space that by later on this year could be getting rid of third-party cookies from Chrome. They're planning on replacing them, I believe, with a new API called Privacy Sandbox, and that's going to have its own set of trackers. So who knows where that's going to take us, but big changes are on the way, right? So regardless, Onpassive is ahead of the game anyway, since it doesn't collect or track data, right? That means adjusting to Google's strategy is a challenge that's going to be faced by other IT industry leaders, not Onpassive. Hallelujah. And Onpassive in this way is really not like any other business. So in addition to other strategies that Onpassive is deploying, the overall effect has been that it's kind of flipped. We know that it's flipped the internet business model, but it's also kind of been flipped over the marketing funnel. Sorry about that. And by this I mean it's a company that's based on connectedness and mutual benefit. So what we're doing is we're earning loyalty first, right? Through branding, because consumers see what we're doing, they like what we're doing, and as a result, they naturally migrate to us. And Onpassive knows that every touch point with a customer is an opportunity to win that customer's loyalty. And the strategies for marketing that we've talked about here can leverage a loyalty like that to help us develop additional strategies for improving relationships that we have with our customers, with our members even. And that, in turn, is going to generate leads or bring in more customers. But the focus is to develop consumer trust that strengthens our foundation. Foundation we've recently come through, made sure it's laid right, and we've exited out of phase one, going into some more phases. So to do this, we're showing ourselves in the market as trustworthy, as the correction to the corruption, which is what we say, and that seems to be rather rampant, right? This corruption seems to be pretty rampant in the world of business and regulation, right? In this way, Onpassive is actually a beacon of hope, and we can offer safety, security, and value with our products and our services through the way that we run our conscious business, so that we are doing what's right for humanity and for the world. And I'll let it go at that. There are a lot of other trends, but when you start looking at some of the other ones that are predominant, they tend to go off to one side and get more into AI and IT than marketing. And I wanted to keep this at marketing just so people knew Onpassive is spot on and on top and heading for a new top. So keep on keeping on. Enjoy where you're at on the way to where you're going. Just make sure you get and stay fully engaged, because we're about ready to rock. Thank you much. Hope you have a glorious Onpassive day. Bye.